Hey, I'm Dennis from This Side of Anarchy, and welcome to Band, my show where I let you in on my getting to know other independent bands that I support on social media and that support me in return. And we get to know each other a little better by answering 5 questions each. Please hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube or listening on podcast so you can keep up to date and enjoy this episode. Welcome to this episode of Band, and I'm here with members of Agency Panic. This is so awesome. It's my first interview from people out of the country, which is kind of cool. Kind of second to, I received this letter once in the 90s when I was in Society Gone Mad. I sent our album out to either a review or they bought it from Croatia, and they're like, get a letter back and like, oh yeah, we're in the basement listening to your album and the bombs are going off and everything. We're like, right. Wow, these people are listening to our music as the bombs and stuff are going on. So this is definitely exciting. And in this new age, it's really different finding people socially online, social media and everything. It's really cool to find new friends, and it's a new way of finding people around the world.
And that's music, man.
Yeah, and it's funny. My kids were young. They were all warning them. Oh, don't meet any people online, and you're gonna get everything's gonna be scary. Something's gonna happen to you. And like, my son now is like, that's the only way you meet people anymore is online. So all right, so for everybody out there, introduce yourselves. Maybe how long you've been together, how did you guys meet, and like your story, instruments you play and stuff like that.
So do you want to start it?
Yeah, I'm John.
And tell him how.
Well, basically, I've known Emmet since he was about 15 or that.
Kid playing in.
I was actually playing in a different band, and we were in the same area. Boys, basically, Emmet used to hang around with a couple of the lads' brothers, and we used to do rehearsals down there. We come in, kick the boys out. So that's how I know him. How long I know him. We started what we're doing now. We must be at it about 10 years playing around with each other.
Oh, cool.
And it's only really what it ended up happening then is, as you know, you end up rattling around, writing a few tunes. They end up on a computer. They start building up. You're looking at them building up, saying, we got to get them out there. Like, what's the point of having them sitting on the computer, sort of thing? So that was where it all began.
And then what happened? So I went to university in London because the country went into recession here in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get there was no work obviously around here, so I got re-educated, went to school, studied sound engineering in West London, and I kept on writing material and sending it back and forth, but it was kind of hard. So then I started working as a sound engineer globally, like touring and stuff like that for commercialized bands. I'm still doing that until this pandemic hit. So in the meantime, within those whatever years, we kept on writing material, and I'd come home maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and we kept on sending material back and forth, and then we'd come home and look at this, by the way, one of the best whiskey in the world, Lafroy.
Get it on.
Oh.
So yeah, we kept on writing material and slowly recorded it here at home, and now I'm back full time, and we're starting to get more material done. But obviously the pandemic is slowing things down because the studios weren't accepting people because of the lockdown here.
Right.
So now we're kind of getting back on track, and we're trying to make it happen more and more often. And it is actually happening.
Well, the fact that Hubbard's home helps as well.
So the fact that I'm home full time, it's making things, the process
a little bit quicker.
Way quicker. So yeah, I play all the guitars. I write all the music with John. It's basically me and John that write all the material, and then we got some friends that help us come in and make adjustments and a little bit ideas here and there.
Lee and Harvey.
Rosie.
Before Harvey.
Harvey is the drummer, Lee's the bass player.
Okay.
So now we're focusing on
Get the next track out.
getting the next track out. It needs to be mixed a little bit more, mastered, and then it'll be released.
Hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have another couple of songs. We have another 3 songs basically that need vocals to be put down and mixed and released, and hopefully we can get those.
They're pretty much in the can already. Like, they're tracked and all in the studio. So
yeah.
So yeah, the process is slow. As you see, we don't do time, Dennis. We've been late for the interview.
Yeah. Getting stuck up the river on a boat doesn't really help without fuel. Yeah. And what else can we say? So the scene here in Ireland is, I don't know what the scene is in Ireland. I haven't really lived here in a long time. I've been living in Miami for the last few years on and off due to work. Obviously, I do stints of like 2 months work, then a month off, or 6 weeks off, and then I would back here again. And yeah, it's a bit of a different time for me.
It's a weird way we were putting it together, basically, Dennis.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's happened.
So how did the name come about?
The name, believe it or not, comes from the term agency panic. Was a psychological term used for conspiracy theorists. It was like you suffer from agency panic.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere. And after seeing it, I kind of reversed it back to more so your own agency. So panic, your own self-agency. So basically open your fucking eyes. Probably that's why I connected with you and your music. The same mindset, you know what I mean? Your lyrical content and stuff will be pretty similar to where we're in and around, like in subject matter. So you know where I'm coming from on that page. So that's where the name came from. Basically to panic your self-agency. Like.
Yeah. And you bought, and the domain was purchased by John's friend, right?
Maybe about, even before we became Agency Panic, it was like years before that. He actually bought ahead of steam. So it was almost like fate, if you want to call it.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so.
Anyway, right, I'll give you an old bell there then.
John has some questions there for you, Dennis.
Yeah, let's get your first question.
Well, whilst you were growing up, right? Obviously you're of the same vintage as myself almost.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're growing up, what was your genre like? Was it always punk, or was there did you have something else that got you to punk? Was it, or do you even have any dirty little secrets, like you're into jazz or is there anything in there hiding that we don't know about?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, early on there was no punk in the early 70s. So.
All right, Dennis.
You're in the 60s, you know.
You're BP, are you, Dennis?
But growing up, it was mainly the 60s, 70s, kind of heavy rock, and everything from Beatles to big band to classical to classic rock. I mean, I've always had a wide range of genres, and the thing that always sticks in my mind when people ask this question is, my dad used to like Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, and they did a song called Zorba the Greek, and it's just got that punk and it's got that still sticks with me, and then it kind of comes down to be a slow part, and then it slowly builds up, and it's like it's going, and it's like, so it's just from my childhood that kind of stuck, and then once I started hearing more punk, it kind of reinforced that, and just
Dead Kennedys. Dead Kennedys 70s?
Dead Kennedys was early 80s.
Yeah.
Would have been the Sex Pistols would have been kicking it off in around the early.
Yeah, and 70s, 76, 77 was the Sex Pistols. You know,
Sure.
I was a really young one back then still, and just hearing about it on the news, you know,
Really born in
Sid, Sid,
76, but
Sid Vicious, you know, slashing himself and everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was all scared and everything.
everyone
Uh,
was.
and then later on, it was like, oh, okay, whatever.
So you just latched on to punk then from pretty much the 80s on, like.
Yeah, probably just after the mid '80s is when I really started into punk, because I was in a bunch of rock bands, and then kind of slowly got into heavier music, like, you know,
Yeah,
Anthrax and Metallica, and then slowly,
the
uh,
trash, the
then
scene in the
then
80s.
slowly getting into the thrash, and then Metallica, Anthrax, and SOD was really cool. Stormtroopers of Death, and then you know, Dead Kennedys and Circle Jerks is what really got me turned on to it.
Bones.
And then on from there, just kept building and building, and I just liked the the energy and the quick songs. I mean, I like songs not too much more than a minute and a half. You know, just like a burst of energy, and boom, you're done. I like
Bacon time.
I like saying what you want to say, getting it out, and that's it. It's like,
Well,
here it
it's
is.
like bacon time.
What about A Holiday in Cambodia?
Yeah,
That was a classic.
yeah, definitely was.
Pretty well written songs too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
really like the ones on In God We Trust are really good. That was my first real favorite band, our favorite album.
So you were in LA all of this time when this scene was happening too?
No, I was in Ohio until I was 18. Then I went in the Air Force, and I was in South Dakota for a while. That's where I got my first band, and we played just a variety of music, all, you know, from pop to metal to a couple punk songs even.
Okay.
And then after the Air Force, I went back to Ohio. Was in a metal band for a while, and then I don't know. I've always had this calling to be in the Southwest somehow. So I put out some resumes for, you know, a job, and I got one in LA.
The Sunshine, you mean?
Yeah, sunshine on the beach.
Cool. Yeah, it was a
So
different.
in the late '80s, I've been here since the late '80s, and then I would,
In LA, in
yeah,
fairness.
putting an ad in the paper in late '80s, and got in a band called Society Gone Mad, and we just toured we just maybe locally California, from San Francisco to San Diego, basically. We never went out of California, but we did like 5 albums, and we all did them ourselves and paid for everything. And I had my
Okay.
own label for a while.
It was harder back then to do that, I'd say, than it is now, Dennis.
Eh,
Yeah.
it's similar, but it's just different. I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages to everything.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Like the distribution end of it now is a lot easier nowadays. Like,
Yeah,
considering you're talking to us in County Wexford, Ireland, like, you know what I mean, and we've actually heard your music. If it had been back when we were even growing up, we wouldn't have probably even known who This Side of Anarchy is, you know what I mean?
right, right.
So, it makes sense.
But yeah, back then, I don't know. You there was, you know, fanzines and stuff, and
Oh, yeah.
people put, you know, we sent our album out for reviews, and it was just a different mode of way of getting it out. You have to give to your fanzine, but now it's an advantage that you can touch everybody. And the disadvantage is that you have to contact everybody. You know what I mean? It's just like there's so much you have to do in social media that sometimes it's like I want to write my music, and I got to promote it. So you're like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to do everything.
It's almost 50-50, isn't it? You have to say, like, we didn't even realize how hard it was. Just as you're saying, to contact people, you're just always on the go, tipping, but sure, people forget you to live your life at the same time. You know what I mean? I detest social media to a point where you're drawn into it. You have to interact with it too. Now, don't get me wrong, it's deadly to connect with people and stuff, but as you've just said, like, you're trying to promote stuff, you're trying to tip away, you're trying to keep in contact with people. Takes a lot of hours out of your day if you were to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you think yourself?
Pardon?
What do you think yourself?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, especially with a regular job too. Regular job, come home and you're tired and you got to write music. You got to keep up on the social media and family and house
Yeah,
and.
kids, congratulations.
Yeah, we used to play. So we used to play in multiple cover bands and stuff here as well. It's strange because we used to have a grunge kind of. There's a lot of grunge feelings here in this neck of the woods here. So a lot of the Seattle scene attracted a lot of us here. So there was a lot of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, Alice in Chains cover bands, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually played in a Primus cover band for a couple of years too, and that was a pretty good, successful kind of thing. That was really interesting. Pretty far out music for this neck of the woods too. They're from San Francisco, I believe.
Yay. Primus? I can't remember who they're from.
Yeah.
It could probably.
Well, yeah. So you've been in LA all this time. You've seen the changes happening throughout the 80s to the 90s. What's it like to live there now? Yeah.
It's
Hipster.
yeah, I mean, in some aspects it's the same, and in some aspects it's different. It's just I don't like them, intruding in our lives too much. It's just like they want to intrude in everybody's life.
You're
And
on
it's
about restrictions.
and it's just I don't know. People like and it just annoys me. People like to they want to control the people to ride bikes is what they want to do. They're like, and like LA is so big, how's people going to ride bikes? So what they do is they take a 2-lane road and they make it 1 lane and they put a bike lane there and take one away. And so then all the cars are like backed up and you're like, I'm like, okay, and you got like 3 people trying to ride a bike and you got 2,000 people trying to get on the street and like, well, what's going on here? It's like,
Yeah.
and in most big cities, when you want to do something to your house, you're supposed to pay the city and get a permit. And I'm like, well, I just want to replace my water heater. Can't I just replace my water heater?
Are you serious? Like,
Serious. Supposedly you're supposed to get a permit and you got to pay the city like $80 or something to make sure it's okay and make sure it's all right. And you're like, are you kidding me? I thought I owned my house. Can I just work on my house and put a water heater in? I mean, hardly anybody does it, but it's still it's still a rule.
It's an expensive country to live in as well, right? Or in that state, especially.
Oh yeah, LA's really expensive. It's definitely got more expensive since the 90s. I got really lucky that I got in at the bottom end in the
Yeah.
in the early 90s, and then now it's just crazy. You can't afford anything. I mean, I couldn't afford to live here if I wanted to. I mean, if I was moving here now, there's no way.
even Joe Rogan is getting out. That's how expensive it is. He's got 100 million deal with Spotify.
Yeah.
So are you playing lots of music and stuff right now with bands and stuff too, are you?
Right now, it's just me. Right now, I'm doing some collaboration with a couple people. With, with yep, with Pharmacide, and he's doing the drums right now. He's gonna send them over hopefully this weekend. So
Well, Vince, shout out to Vince, boy. Good guy, in fairness.
yeah, I just got my water. Too early for me.
Toast to launch it.
We'll make up for it with the scotch.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, you're busy enough making your own stuff.
Can't let go on.
Yeah, and it's just hard finding. Even though LA is so big, it's kind of hard finding people that want to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I kind of think being a little bit of the older generation that most of the kids are going to be younger and they got different things going on. So
What about
The music has shifted as well to the point like my kids
yeah,
to rebel
yeah,
against me. Kids don't like rock at all.
yeah.
They're into the singer songwriter stuff, and so that's how my kids rebel against me. It was the opposite way around. We all went heavier against our parents when we were kids.
we keep
I know.
on get? The older I get, the heavier.
Oh yeah, actually, I'm the same. Yeah. Do you find that, Dennis, as you're getting older, are you getting more cantankerous? Is it because we've been around the block that many times?
I think so.
We just
I
get the
think
pain in the arse looking at the same shit going on and on and on and on.
yeah, yeah.
You just start becoming wise, but isn't it amazing that it's only when you're about 30-ish that you actually start realizing that it's all another tosh,
Yeah.
You probably don't understand some of this lingo, do you? Some of this. When John says deadly, or we say deadly, it means awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the different
Slang.
slangs in the country is kind of, you have to figure out what they are sometimes.
Yeah. I'll let you ask away anything you want to know, brother. We'll fill you in.
Yeah, definitely. As I've gotten older, it's I've gotten heavier and more angry at certain things, and I definitely it doesn't last as long. I don't have the energy anymore. Like, oh man, I'm tired.
We put it into songs so we don't have to keep doing it over and over again. The song will just do it for us. Oh yeah, you will get that way, all right.
So, talking about the music scene in LA, so all of the classic venues like the Troubadour and all these places.
Whiskey
Did you grow up amongst? Not grow up. Were you hanging about at that time?
Yeah. And we played the Whiskey.
Okay.
With No Means No, I believe. And
you not remember what were you doing that night, Dennis?
No, one of my friends, he's really hard on me because it's just the way I am. I think even my wife, she's like, you don't remember that? I mean, I don't know. I do something, and it's in the past. I was like, I don't need to remember that anymore. It's like, it's a memory thing or something. Or I'm always looking ahead, and I'm hardly ever looking behind. And I've told this story before, but I was archiving some stuff from Society Gone Mad, and I was scanning an interview, and I was reading it, and I'm mentioning that we're played with the show with DI in Riverside, and I'm like, I still don't remember playing a show with DI. It's just like sometimes the other problem I think I have is I'm going around doing everything and taking care of things because I was like the guy that did the stuff.
Right.
That's why they called me Gramps. That's one of my nicknames was Gramps because I was like the older.
You were the guy in the band.
Even though I was 20s, they called me Gramps because I was like taking care of everything, doing all the record label stuff, doing all the promotion, doing everything. So I'm all busy doing everything, and I don't think I took time to enjoy like being able to play with DI. I'm like,
Right. So it went off the head completely.
so yeah, just like, but yeah, we played the Club Lingerie, played places in downtown LA and Riverside, and
Did you ever see Guns N' Roses up when they were back in the day when they were coming up with the first album and stuff, Appetite for Destruction?
no, I was never really a fan for some reason. They never
Okay.
really appealed to me.
Never done it for you.
Duff McKagan was a
He's a punk head, isn't he?
punk head, wasn't he? A lot.
I think so.
Yeah. You're more of the underground.
Right.
Yeah.
The underground.
Yeah. That's where to be. Like.
The
But with
underground of the underground.
That's like the Melvins. That was like the Melvins. You know, the Melvins also were always like that. You know, they had a pretty cool
Yeah.
perspective on doing their career path.
I'll tell you who was
Yeah.
underground. The Grateful Dead were underground. That's
The Grateful Dead.
They were underground. As they weren't on the edge. They were off the ledge. But if you were to spend your last night on Earth, and it's right,
Mm-hmm.
at dinner, 3 people, past or present, celebrities, right? Be it artists, painters, I don't know, anyone, writers,
Creative.
anyone creative. Who would it be if you were to pick 3 now?
Well, probably Mozart, Lemmy from Motorhead, and
I can imagine what that dinner would have been like.
and yeah, that's this question before. I have no idea, but the only one I can think of was Mountains of Felix Popularity.
Who's this?
You ever hear a band called Mountain and Leslie West from the 70s?
No.
No. They had a song called Mississippi Queen. I don't know, Mississippi Queen. Ba-na-na-na-na. Don't you know what I mean? Ba-na-na-na-na.
No.
Anyway, he played bass on there, and he was a good producer for a while in the 70s, and sometimes in the 70s it was hard to get a good full bass sound, you know, because of the technology, but
yeah.
His bass, the way he recorded that on his album is just like, man, it's just I want to see how he did that way back then in that,
So,
that era.
do you think it boils down to equipment or the studios? Well, it's a combination, obviously.
Probably a combination, and the person, you know, and his ears, and you know, just experimentation is just, it takes everything.
Yeah.
In fairness, the guy who mixes our stuff is
Mm-hmm.
he's unreal. Like. He really has the ear for it. Like, and it's like a little home studio that we do our stuff in. Like, and what we're even pulling out of it, like, is beyond belief. Like,
The drum sound he pulls out is pretty punchy,
absolutely savage. Like. So we're lucky on that part. Like, he's like the third member almost. He's like a member in there. You know what I mean? Almost.
Edit.
Hello. Solicitor. We get lots of solicitors here.
Oh yeah. We discarded that a little bit in Ireland.
Well, we're not too bad.
Yeah. That's the 3 people you'd have.
For dinner, Mozart and Lemmy. Now I can imagine. I'd like to actually sit in on that one. That sounds like that. Lemmy was something else. Like, let's be honest.
What about the Rainbow Bar? He'd always used to have a seat in the Rainbow Bar in LA, right?
Yeah, actually, you know how it is. I don't know if you know how it is, but where you live, you don't go there. You know, you're like, and only for tourists. It's like you
don't want to down there.
I've seen Ron Jeremy in there a couple of times. He was pretty eccentric.
I'm sure he was. But did you ever see that documentary on Netflix with Lemmy before he died? Basically, the collection of army memorabilia and tanks and books and Oh,
Yeah,
man,
that's
absolutely.
awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
And
that's a
that
good.
means fairness.
So Mozart won't be able to hear what you're saying, though, right?
Was that Beethoven?
Or was that Beethoven?
Beethoven was deaf. Yeah.
Beethoven, was it? Yeah. How fucking crazy was that? But anyway, that's a different subject.
So now that you're a granddad, right? Congratulations again on that one. All right,
Thanks.
perfect idea. I can empathise with the age thing and all, right? As we've just been
John
saying,
keeps
like,
on bringing up his age all the time.
right? But do you think though that it's sort of making us that when we go to on a musical side, like, do you think it makes us that little bit wiser as opposed to live fucking life, been around the block as we've just said? Do you think it helps with actually putting your stuff down?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean,
The vehicle, like, to get it out
yeah.
as we.
I mean, it. I mean, it should. Hopefully, we get wiser as the older we are. It's you would hope so.
Oh, I don't know about that.
We're here to have a bottle of whiskey so far anyway, and how long? No, Dennis, no. I'm never giving in.
Yeah.
So how have you found the whole social media thing? The little network that we're all in. Like the reason that we're even talking to you now, like that we all got connected, Demon Scar, Creep Scene, Farmside, as we've just been talking about, Vinci. You know what I mean? Everybody that's around, like, and,
Yeah.
I could give a shout out to about 100 people on here, like, and even like some of the stations, like Rock and the Rise or TFSC Radio with Ollie, or with Midnight Fury on Metal Mayhem, or any of the, you know what I mean? Have you found the social media thing?
I mean, it's been really awesome. It's really nice to fellow artists and people in the radio stations, like to support each other, and it's just gets the word out, and I just hope. The only thing I kind of worry about is getting it out beyond that. It's like sometimes it seems like everybody likes each other and everybody, but we're on our own little circle, and everybody's promoting each other and everybody's listening to each other, but yet does it go out?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I like what you're doing. Oh, I like what you're doing. Oh, yeah, we all like each other, but is it really going anywhere? Sometimes you just wonder.
That's it. Like,
As well, all right.
well, that's true as well. Like, we're even still getting people are maybe hearing the middle, which was our last release, and that's bringing them back to Panic that they hadn't heard or whatever. Like, so I found that has happened a bit as well. Like, so it's mad the way it kind of happens, because your song kind of, you've forgotten about your song, we'll say, and the next thing it gets a little cycle of new people listening to it, new people hearing it, and then you're hoping from there maybe the butterfly effect happens and it kind of spreads out a little bit.
Yeah.
But even connecting with different bands, getting different perspectives, even if you yourself, for instance, right, you do everything yourself. That's just great. So not only in all the instruments, but you're also coming up with all the music at the same time. Like Creep Scene the same, Farmerside the same, David Hitchcock the same. There's, you know what I mean? I could keep the Shays is the same. I could keep naming artists that are on Twitter that are all, you know what I mean? Jazz Patterson, there's bands out there that are all doing it themselves. Like, if you get me, like, whereas even though we are a band, it's amazing how you're even doing it all on your own. How do you find that process even?
I like it, but sometimes I miss the collaboration.
Right.
But that's what I'm working it out with Pharmacide, and I'm doing one with John Warwick. So
stuff around, like.
So yeah, I'm seeing how that's going to work, but I think it's still the chemistry is something too. When you have somebody physically there and you're jamming and playing and you're like feeding off each other, but if I write something and send it to somebody else and they do something and send it back, and it doesn't have that same live kind of
interaction. Like,
interaction. Yeah, but
oh, we are casting spells to a point. Like it is magically done. You know what I mean? It's easier to do when we're in a room together. It's almost like
yeah,
if me and something, there's almost a third person in the room, and
mhm,
he's undecided, I'm undecided, but between that third person, it seems to come to fucking together. Do you know what I mean?
right,
Keep on
right.
shitting on it.
But if when you're bouncing stuff back and forth, as you're saying, like even with the likes of us, like I could come up with a melody and he'd give me an idea that would be off field. You know what I mean? Completely left field to what I'm at, but it might work. Like whereas we're the very same. He could play something and I go, hold on, what was that you just did? Do you know what I mean? And
Right.
you
Right.
catch it there. Like so, I know what you're saying, as in when you're physically there with people. Like bouncing back and forth is grand, but does it lose, as you're saying, that little bit of magic, like the little bit of chemistry?
Present.
Yeah, presence. That's it. Like
Yeah.
the presence, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's just,
But then doing it yourself must be mental because you're doing something, you get stuck. What are you doing? You're bouncing off the wall. Do you know what I mean? Because you're on your own, so you're probably saying it to the missus, eh? What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Or is she sick? Listen to you like my missus.
yeah, my missus doesn't, she's like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell is that?
Noise. We call that noise.
Yeah. I mean, she likes the lyrics and the meaning from all the songs, but the rest of it is like, yeah, it's too the same for me. But yeah, I bounce it off. My son sometimes will. He's got a pretty wide range too.
Your son,
He likes, huh?
is your son a drummer?
Yeah, he was for a while, but he's kind of given that up and gone to the iRacing thing. But he's actually a drummer, and he's played guitar and he's played bass, and he's kind of got he kind of got everything, and my other son got nothing. He's like almost not even into he's like not even into music hardly. It's
Yeah. It's mad how
like
your
in the
kids can be so
like
different.
like in the car. I don't think he listens to music, and I'm like, well, how can you even not listen to this? He's just got a quiet car.
I try to listen to that punk anyway.
So that's you. That's how you mainly go to him then as your reference point.
Yeah, I and then sometimes I still am in touch with some of my old band members. I'll send them a song and say, especially the drums, because I kind of try to pattern my drums after our drummer that was in Society Gone Mad. I kind of imagine the way he would play and kind of because
That's something.
because
I've been listening to tracks, right? And fair kudos to you. Fucking drums are amazing. Like for the fact that you program them, like it's just crazy. Like different beats, different stops. Brilliant.
How do you come up with that? You program all this yourself?
Yeah, you tennis programs on the drums.
It's basically MIDI. The I use the Cakewalk by BandLab software, and it used to be Sonar. It comes with Session Drummer 3. It just comes with a bunch of drum kits, and the one I use is the Led Zeppelin kit, where I mean they took his kit or a kit like his and just recorded it, I guess supposedly in a castle, hits the bass drum, hits the bass drum.
When the levy breaks, yeah, we know that this specific house, it was quite an iconic sound.
Yeah, and so they've got each drum, and basically you just
program them in from there.
It's just MIDI. It's just MIDI information. You just tell it when to hit, how hard to hit, and how often to hit. It's just like
it's all quantized. It's all quantized in time credit.
Yeah, you can do either. You actually don't want it too quantized because then it sounds robotic.
Not natural. You have no natural groove in it.
So that's the trick. You want it semi-quantized but not perfect. Especially the hits. You don't want every hit being the same because then it sounds totally robotic. You got to really very quiet, louder. You just got to really. And then it also comes with just some basic beats that real drummers have done on a kit, and
Yeah.
then they've converted it to MIDI. And I'll create something, and then I'll go through some of the pre-done beats. It's just 1 bar beat, and you just drag it, and it's just however much you want. And then you can add, I want to kick here instead of there, or just adjust it. And I'm like, I cannot play 1 bit. And my son really hates it when I think I can on my air drums, but but I can imagine it and know what I want to do and know what it needs to do. But I couldn't play that on a drum kit if you paid me $1 zillion.
Maybe. And in regards to the bass, like what kind of bass are you playing, and what kind of amp are you playing through?
The bass on my later stuff, I just got a Rickenbacker. I finally it's the one I really wanted to get one of those, and I finally got one like maybe 3-4 years ago.
Right.
Yep, because of Lemmy.
Oh, yeah.
Because of Lemmy and Geddy Lee. I like the old Geddy Lee bass from the 70s.
Your microphone in the same position as Lemmy. All the way up there.
Brilliant, man.
I actually
and
see
all my amps are modeling amps on the computer.
Yeah. What modeling software is that?
I'm using Amplitude.
Okay. Good.
You have what's the one you have?
I have, because I listen to like very, very heavy kind of dark metal, like Meshuggah, Sweden and stuff like that. So I like the tone that they use in their guitars. So I bought software that had called Neural DSP for the tones that they have, and they specify in particular dark tones and heavy tones also. So that's what I've been using a lot lately. But again, we use the analog side of things. I'm going through a Mezza Boogie, a triple rectifier. So it's quite a classic metal kind of tone, and I've got an SG that has a Seymour Duncan in it, and the Seymour Duncan pickup in it is lethal. It sounds aggressive, but the tone is real warm in it, really, really. I can't really put it down. Actually, the story behind it is kind of crazy. So I worked for AC/DC for a few years, touring and whatever, as a sound tech. And obviously Angus was around all the time, and then I purchased like this SG, and I got Angus to sign it.
Cool.
And then I started playing it, and then I couldn't stop playing it because the tone sounded so good. So now I've got this SG with Angus Young's signature on the side, but I've covered it up with like clear plastic, so that I don't rub off. I don't rub off the signature and stuff like that. I shouldn't really be doing it, to be honest. I
shouldn't really be playing it. Like, should be on the wall. Let's be honest about it. You might just go buy another SG.
Yeah, I need to take out that pickup.
You'd be pissed some night and just rub it off.
Yeah, I need to. But again, the tone that we have through the SG and the Mezza Boogie is second to none, basically. Really good. So that's the tone that we work on, and we use our bass player is playing through a Warwick. And then I don't know what bass he's going through now. I don't know what type of amp he's using. He used to play through Ampeg Classic, obviously. He used to have that 8x12 cab. It was like a coffin, trying to
fucking get that around.
Trying to lug that fucking thing around.
As you know, like a fridge.
Yeah.
It literally was a refrigerator. Like.
Yeah.
And then Harvey, the drummer that we have is. That guy is. He can play anything and make it sound good, really. So the snare that we're using out of our friend's studio is a DW snare. It's like I think it was a second-hand snare he bought. The studio guy
just to sound out the snare, man.
It's like a solid, it's like a steel, a complete steel, super heavy, really, really heavy snare, so we really want to keep our hands on that sound. And then he has a 24-inch kick that we want to
Harvey has
keep on our hands as well. He has it too. But the guy himself, as a musician, is just pretty
savage,
black and white, straightforward, you know.
Savage.
So the tone, I think we've started to specialize in tone and sound more so, just as much as the songs, you know. I think it's 50% of the music songwriting,
and then 50% trying to get it sounding,
you know. So there's a lot of mixing that goes on. And
as you know, like it's taking us forever to get a fucking song.
We do a lot of mixing and stuff like that, and we know what we want to sound like, but trying to get that sound is
basically then
intricate at times.
Basically, the way we look at it is we're going to be doing it once, so we try to get this fucking bang on every time as much as we can. And sure, as we're happy with it, then that's the main thing. Like after that, then you just let it go to the ether and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's a lot of bands out there that don't see that side. It seems they don't specialize. They don't look at the sound side of things. Maybe it's because I studied audio a little bit too, and I just like to.
You're a pain in the arse about it, basically.
I basically piss everybody off.
I think sometimes it can be detrimental sometimes because you think a certain way and you can't think out of the box sometimes.
But that's it. Yeah, but you end up going. Sometimes you see Dennis, you can end up going down fucking rabbit holes. You know what I mean? You end up going down the yellow brick road and find a fucking Alice down there, like, you know. So, as you know yourself, the more you put things, you can butcher things as well.
Yeah, we've destroyed music as well, and we've
over that, like, you know what I mean. We've actually butchered stuff as well, like, so you know yourself. It's a learning process. Like, you learn as you go along.
Yeah.
But yeah, the modeling, the software that you model amplification is pretty. What would you say? It's more concrete. It feels sometimes, but again, it's not completely natural.
Yeah. So in fairness to you, you do have that natural feel on the drums. Like that's what I was wondering. Like how the fuck you even? I've never heard anyone program drums so well. Like they sound. No, but you know what I mean. Like you've got the groove in it, but they're still programmed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So let me get that to go. Sorry, we're just rolling peasant cigarettes here. Cigarettes don't cost $6 over here. They cost about $15. So we're smoking cheap rolly.
Wow.
But yeah, that's basically the
gear and the stuff we use.
The gear that we use, yeah. But what else are we going to mention here?
What else you want to know about this?
So I know it's probably a hard question, but what's Ireland like? Because you know where you live, you don't know how to explain it. So I've seen the one show with Norm Reedus. Have you ever seen that show where he goes around on a motorcycle? I think he went to Ireland once. It was kind of interesting.
Really? You've never been there?
No.
Would you like to come? Anytime, brother. I'll put you up anytime. You come to Wexford, we'll see you good. Bring the wife with you and everything.
Yeah, I've never been out of the States.
Oh, really? Okay.
Except for
Mexico.
a stint to Niagara Falls in Canada. That's about the only.
Yeah. That's quite a spectacular view. So last weekend, I haven't lived here for 10 years due to work and going to school and whatever. I went up to the northwest of Ireland, a place called Donegal, and it's one of the most spectacular places I've ever been to in the world. And I've done quite a bit of traveling with work and stuff as well, touring and whatever. It was really picturesque, extremely picturesque, you know. And it's not really touched. It's untouched completely.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't believe that the beauty was here as much until I went up there the last couple of weeks. And then there's a place in the Wicklow Mountains that's like an hour away from Dublin, the capital city. So there's a lot of really beautiful places here.
Ireland is a great country.
With the weather, if you get the
Great
wet, yeah.
Our weather is, but that's the thing about it as well, because of our weather. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's just kind of in the middle all the time.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, the winters can be a little bit nippy now at times, maybe around
Without the
December,
sunshine.
January, you know what I mean? And it's dark
Mhm.
at about 4 o'clock in the evening and that. But as far as even if you want to bring kids up, your food,
Quality.
like the quality of food,
Grass fed. Everything is grass fed.
everything.
All you guys in America are like charging enormous money for grass fed fucking meat.
And that's just literally, it is the way we eat meat over here. Like,
Yeah.
there is, you know what I mean? The same
Yeah.
with pork, same with the pork. So, food wise, country's unreal. Location, sure, it's unreal. As far as population, sure, what, there's about 4.5 million in the country. A lot of leg room, part, you know, same as everywhere. The cities are pretty well built up. But you can go out in the outskirts, and it's absolutely unreal. He's saying about the picturesque views. Excellent.
Yeah.
I'd give
I
it
mean,
give it a 10 a bar, give it a 9 out of 10. I take the percent away for the people that run the place because they're fucking numpties. Other than that, for sure,
Capitalism.
we all have that in common, Dennis. We're all been run by fucking numpties.
You know what's really good here? Spuds.
Spuds.
You
You
know,
know what a spud is, Dennis?
yeah. The spuds.
The spuds are the way to go.
Yeah, I mean it's we got a hot spot here, or a hot thing here today or this week. It's gonna be like 110 in the valley.
tell us in Celsius. John doesn't understand what Fahrenheit is.
Yeah,
And neither do you. You probably don't know what Celsius is.
I know what Celsius is.
You're taking out the converter, I can see it.
Yep.
That's like 35 or something, is it?
No, 110 is 43.
Fucking hey, Dennis, man. Forget it, man. I wouldn't get over Jesus
There's
Christ.
no humidity there on the
That's
on
mental.
the on the west coast, though, right?
Actually, at times there is, because they get hurricanes down south in Mexico, and the moisture comes up, and that's what we got right now. We got some humidity too.
All right.
So it's bad when that moisture comes up and we get the humidity and the temperature. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's lashing rain here anyway, by the way.
I lived
As
in Miami, and the humidity there is like
Yeah, it's
exhausting.
crazy.
Yeah. Too much at times, you know. But the wintertime there was amazing. It was perfect.
Oh yeah. Wintertime is probably.
Even the water was still warm.
Yeah. Yeah, I spent time in Biloxi, Mississippi, which is almost near there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of similar weather. Gets humid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wouldn't be out for that.
Yeah, the Irish people here
That'll kill me
are
now.
not able. So they had a summer. I heard they had a summer here in 2018. That was 2 months of no rain, and what was it, like 30s or something?
Yeah, I was in the high 20s, 29s.
29 and
around 28, 29. But it was every day now, Dennis. Come on, like, Dennis, we don't mind the good weather. We're not lizards, like, come on.
there was so much complaining going on here. It was unbelievable. I heard it from my mum.
He was here, he was going, I'd be freezing if I was at home now. He was saying to me.
I really wanted to get home, but I was on tour with Guns N' Roses for that whole time in the US, and the US was just on fire at that stage as well. So yeah, but Ireland is definitely
Definitely a spot to come, man. You can get a chance to come over here on holidays. I'm telling you, you will not regret it.
Oh,
You'll have
that'd
if we
be
can get
cool.
rid of this COVID stuff, that is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Crazy.
it's a direct flight from San Francisco and LA to Dublin as well with Aer Lingus. It's reasonably priced at $600 return.
There you go, Dennis.
That ain't bad.
So
bad.
I would recommend Ireland. America, what's America like, Dennis? Because we've all we're getting over here really is what the media is feeding us. So what is America like?
It's on fire,
Yeah,
right?
you can't trust the media. Definitely never trust the media. I just traveled to back home, and then to see my parents and my grandparents, and people are just regular. I mean, you can't trust the media. People are just normal people, take care of each other. Most of them are nice, saying, "Oh, excuse me," and helping people, helping them out, and
Yeah.
it's
So
just
everything we've seen over here is basically, like, I know America's a big place, like, Jesus, Ireland would fit into Texas, I'd say. Do you know what I mean? That's how small
yeah.
Ireland
Oh
Ireland
yeah,
is.
yeah,
It's like probably 52 states in one fucking, you know what I mean? It might be 52 countries or 51 countries in the one state, and you know what I mean? Like, you're
yeah.
so,
It's just so vast and so many different kinds of people, different kind of cultures, and it's awesome. That's what I
Where do
like about it.
where do you do your grocery shopping?
Pardon?
Where do you do your groceries?
Just place called Ralph's, and well, we have to spread it out because people have different prices and stuff. So just we go to Target and Walmart and Ralph's, and it's just
it's just on shopping day, all right, yeah, about 20 shops. Here, where are we going now? Where are we going
What
now?
about Aldi? You got Aldi right over there right now, yeah?
Aldi. Yeah,
They're actually cleaning up here.
They're making a fortune over in the world, I think, especially Europe.
oh yeah, yeah. I think they're just starting over here, and at least in LA, past few years.
Yeah, cool. Where else would you suggest that's a good place to hang out in the US? Not like all of the northwest coast is having a tough time now by the media over here, right? Like Seattle and all, and Portland.
What's going on in Portland, man? What is the story in Portland?
What's happening out in that neck of the woods?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening in Portland. It's just crazy. Some guys just want to take over, I guess.
Warlords.
But the fact that the police are even just standing by and just let them do it.
I know. I don't get that. It could be just another agency panic.
We didn't very strange times, Dennis. We live in strange times, my friend.
Yeah. Could be a conspiracy theory there. Who knows?
How do you sit in that word, Dennis?
Yeah, who knows? There's so much going on. It's hard to trust anybody anymore. So that's.
I don't know what's right and what's fucking wrong. You don't know your arse from your elbow. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
You're hearing that many different conflicting. Even if you take the COVID thing, for instance, like wear masks, don't wear masks. In Europe here, for instance, like you had England, for instance, they didn't go into lockdown. Then they went into lockdown. They didn't go into lockdown. You've all, you know what I mean? Here, you can go into a restaurant without a mask. If you're going to do your grocery shopping, you have to wear a mask. You don't know what's right and what's wrong.
It's what's the word? Fluctuating.
Fluctuating all over the place. But I reckon it looks like we're going into another lockdown now. The second phase is starting to hit over here.
Like some regions have started to hit lockdown already. Like three regions have hit lockdown.
Three counties
last
week.
Lee,
Shoffley, and Kildare have been shut down. So here we go again. All the businesses and all restaurants.
And we still haven't hit winter. Waiting for winter to hit.
Once here, like we get the flu pandemic. You know, everyone gets the flu. We're going to get the flu like we always do. This is seasonal.
I know, and they push this cases thing. It's like, okay, people are going to get it. So
yeah,
wouldn't the most important thing to be how many people have died from it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care how many cases got it. 5 billion people could get it, and 50,000 died. So like, okay, so more people die of the flu.
200,000 a year, isn't that worldwide?
Yeah, I know. It's and it, we got the heat wave here, and it was kind of funny on the news on this right after each other. They're like, oh, today 60 people have died from the COVID, but today if we're having a heat wave, 400 people might die. So I'm like, okay, more people are going to die from the heat wave than the COVID. So,
yeah.
so what the hell's going to happen? So like,
what's the narrative here? Like? I'm with you on that one. I'm with you. We're the very same over here, man. You know what I mean?
Well, you say that, but we're not.
Well, no, we're
some
not.
Some people get, so we've got a very right-wing kind of, well, it's the same as the US. The media is pretty headstrong, keeping people
Well,
scared.
basically the media are in bed with government. The same as most media all over the world. Like, so
Yeah.
there's very little room for independent journalism anywhere around the world at the minute. And most independent journalists don't even want to lift their head above the parapet because, as you know, they'll get ostracized for it. So,
Right.
and in this PC world that we live in at the minute, Dennis, as you know, been of
Yeah.
the same vintage as we are. We've seen how the world has changed in even 10 years, and it's not a good place where we're going. I don't think, brother. Not to end on a doomsday and all that. No, come on, now, let's pick it up here a little bit now, Dennis. Come on. How'd you get on with the grandson anyway?
Oh yeah, the grandson's awesome. The granddaughter is gonna be 6 tomorrow. I wish I could be there. Too bad they had to move up to in Michigan. But it was good seeing them a few months ago. And we Skyped with her yesterday, and it's just good seeing. Oh, Grandpa, I want you here. I wish you were gonna come. It's like it makes my heart melt.
Yeah.
It's amazing being a grandfather.
Yeah.
What's the deal with Michigan? That's like a. Do you ever go to Michigan anymore? Because it gets really cold up there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gets really cold up there.
I've been to Detroit quite a bit for work. So that's the most extreme I've been to in Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets really cold. Well, you know, when I was in the Air Force in South Dakota, we were working on the B-52s, and my first Christmas, we're out there on the flight line. It was negative 30 degrees. I guess I have to. What's negative?
I know. Yeah, but when it gets to minus 40, it starts to equalize itself out, I believe. So yeah, you're not too far off.
Yeah, I mean, it was like negative 30 or something, and like 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds, and it was just crazy. And they said we were out there working, and they told us that at negative 70 they could close the flight line. I mean, negative 70 wind chill, and then we're out there. Oh, can we come in yet? No, it's negative 68. We're like, come on, a couple more degrees, and we're like working on the airplanes and stuff.
Oh, you're in the Coyote chamber? Why? What the fuck?
And then,
We get paid for that?
yeah, and then finally a negative. I think that's why I like the heat now, because it froze my ass off. I'm still thawing out.
Yeah, it gets like extremely cold up there. So we don't specialize. We don't specialize in winter time over here. So if we get snow or ice over here, the country just
shuts down,
stops.
Done for.
We don't really get much snow.
It's more cold but wet and dank. That's the weather over here. It's more moist and wet.
That's weird. You would think from being so far north, you'd still get some snow, but that's
very, very rare.
We're an island in the middle of the Atlantic, essentially.
We're not too bad.
Yeah, I guess because you're around the ocean, it wouldn't snow that much. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, this topic went into a region, a global geographically conversation. We forgot about we actually play music. But yeah. Well, what other questions do we have?
What else do you want to know about us, Dennis?
What else? Do you guys do anything else for fun besides drink?
What
else is there?
Don't pull the stereotype.
No, Dennis. How dare you pull that stereotype on us? I'm going to have another one.
What, Ishka? You're on the Ishka. Ishka is...
Ishka Baha.
Ishka.
That's what we're on.
Ishka means water in Irish.
But what do we do for fun?
What we do for fun? Not music anyway, that's a fucking fact.
Just music, huh?
John doesn't have fun playing music. No, John has fun playing music, but he doesn't have fun creating it. Let me see. John is actually a gym instructor. So John is actually he's basically a blockhead. Is that what you call it? Is that what you call it? A meathead? John's a meathead.
I do a bit of physical exercise, yes. Likes to keep myself in trim, sure. And that's basically one of my loves. And I watch a bit of football, bit of soccer, as you know, over in the States.
Yeah, the Premiership, John. Yeah, the Premiership is a big deal in Ireland and all as well.
So that'd be the other two loves other than...
I'm a social addict, basically.
Tubbert now is going to go down and get another one of them bottles now in about 20 minutes.
Yeah. So I come home. I don't really see people all the time back in Ireland, and the little village that we live in, everyone's up for getting together and having fun all the time. So yeah, and we live on the beaches. We live in a coastal area. So we hang out at the beaches and stuff quite a lot, and we hang out on boats and
a lot of surfing and stuff going on.
There's a lot of surfing going on around here and all as well. So we got a group of friends that surf quite a lot. Obviously, it's not as good as your neck of the woods. You guys have really good surf.
Yeah.
And the temperature is not that good here, so everyone is always wearing like wetsuits and all to survive the temperate weather, you know.
Well, even though in the valleys it's in the hundreds, at the beach it'll get like 80, 85, but the water temperature here is always cold. I don't think the water temperature gets too much above 65, 68.
Well, we can go lower than you, so I don't want to hear that crying about water temperature.
You're taking bats over there, Dennis, compared to what we have.
You're taking a hot bath. Yeah.
So that's it, really. Yeah, I just look at when the recession kicked in. I just got re-educated and went back to college or whatever. Started doing health and fitness, and went from there. Really. Obviously, I don't do that as a full-time job, which is just fuck all in it, like. So I have a 9 to 5 or whatever, and I just keep myself in trim. So that's pretty much what I do. Nothing really fucking amazing about that, Dennis.
What do you do yourself?
Yeah, what do you at yourself, Dennis? What are your passions and loves other than music?
Well, my main job is I've 40 years now working on various avenues of the aircraft industry, instruments, accessories, and stuff.
You're not one of these funky boys, are you?
No, and then come home, I have all kinds of hobbies. I like to cook, I like to garden, I like to
Oh yeah, I've seen you on Twitter actually.
work on cars and.
Every American that I know is like really into cars and motors.
Yeah.
You have to support that oil industry, I suppose.
Yeah.
Drilled into the head.
I know. Elon is going to sort all that out now.
Yeah.
Until Toyota come along. Toyota are building a factory near what's it called again?
Fukushima.
Not Fukushima. What's that mountain again? Anyway, Toyota are going to take over apparently this whole hybrid electronic car situation. They started to move families out to this enormous site where they're going to start specializing in electronic and hybrid companies to build, especially Toyota.
You're a more motorbike man, don't you, Hans?
Yeah.
I've seen you there. You have a little piece, don't you? I'm sure you have a bike, don't you?
Yeah, I got a 150 Honda. It's just basically a scooter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No Harley Davidsons.
No, it goes back to the drumming thing. I don't have the coordination. I could never drive a stick.
You need to get a skipping rope. You need to start doing the jump rope every day.
That's it. Can you teach that old dog new tricks though? That's what we need to know.
I don't think so. Not on that.
Uh,
I like to turn the throttle and I just go. And it go. I can't be shifting here with this foot and braking with that foot and doing with this hand. I just get too confused.
talking about transportation, what do you think of the e-scooters?
Yeah, the e-scooters, they seem. I had a smaller one for a few times, but the ones I have are kind of cheap and they're going over bumps and tracks, railroad tracks and stuff, and they kind of fell apart after a while. But I mean,
Shit go down to fucking cities, especially San Francisco, with those fucking electronic scooters.
yeah,
Crashing like
People just crashing and taking the piss.
they're starting to have those here a lot on the side of the sidewalks. You can use your phone and use the scooters and the little electronic bikes and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah, that's it really.
that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, this was fun, man. Appreciate it.
Listen, it's actually nice to actually sit down and chat to you eventually. Twittering and you know yourself, we've been chatting to each other for about what, year and a half, maybe even longer.
Yeah, at least a year and a half. Yeah.
And I remember actually the first time I ever seen you was on a podcast. I can't remember what it was. You ran it with Drury and you ran it with another couple of people. But it's been great to chat to you, man. It's good to actually connect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. This is fun.
Look at this. Can you see the end of that bottle? It's almost gone.
Oh, it's almost gone.
Well, it was only half bottle anyway, so.
Don't worry, Dennis. I'm going to send him out to get another one now.
Yeah,
So yeah, man. Listen, it's been great to connect with you.
Yeah, nice one, Dennis.
Nice chatting to you, man.
Thanks for the
Yeah.
idea. The whole perspective changes a lot of things as well, you know.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man.
Right, look up from Ireland.
From Ireland,
Sláinte, brother.
right?
Be good.
See you later.